Mid-January. Mid-January there will be.
When we give, we say yes to something we value. In this congregation, we take up an offering each week to say yes to the values of our UU faith and yes to this beloved community. Please give as you are able. Today's offering will be gratefully received. Our offering today is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by Hugh Martin and Ralph Blaine. Our reading this morning is a poem entitled Christmas Bells by the 19th century American poet and Unitarian Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who wrote this poem as a response to his grief over the Civil War. During a Christmas when his own son was off fighting in the war, Longfellow penned this as an expression of his dream of seeing America at peace. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Thank you, Amanda, for that reading. It always amazes me, although it happens again and again and again, when words from our history, like that poem from Longfellow, seem to be written for the world we're living in today, right? Longfellow was writing about the American Civil War, and we once again find ourselves in a time of incredible political strife and division. We haven't resorted to physical battle or cannon fire, but it is a battle nonetheless for the ideals and future of our nation. That is perhaps a sermon for another time, though, so I'm going to put that over there with a little pin in it. I'm sure we'll come back to it at some point in the future, because today I want to spend some time going back into our history, both the cultural history of Christmas and the history of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And perhaps you will be delighted, as I was, to learn of some surprising interminglings between the two. First of all, did any of you know that Longfellow was a Unitarian? Right? Oh, some of you did. Oh, some of you smarty pants knew. I didn't know. And I had to study Unitarian history in seminary, and I didn't know that, so good for you. By the time Longfellow wrote that poem, the celebration of Christmas each year in this country was very well underway. But did you know that it used to be illegal to celebrate Christmas in Massachusetts? I see you nodding. I see nodding. You guys are smart. Maybe you're not going to be as surprised by this sermon as I am, but I'll sally forth anyway. So in 1659, the Massachusetts Bay Colony enacted a law called the, quote, penalty for keeping Christmas. The law stated in part that, quote, such festivals as were superstitiously kept in other countries, that's some shade right there, were, quote, a great dishonor to God and a great offense to others. Anyone found celebrating Christmas by failing to work, by, quote, feasting, or any other way, shall pay for each such offense 5 shillings. Each offense, right. 5 shillings, about $48 in today's dollars. Imagine how many offenses we all would have incurred yesterday at Silver Bells. But thankfully, by the 1800s, that view started to wane, and finally, President Ulysses S. Grant declared Christmas a federal holiday in 1870. Now, none of that really has much to do with our Unitarian history, but it was just too good to not include in this sermon. That said, one of the means in which Christmas became more popular as we entered the 1800s has very much to do with Unitarians. In 1832, the Unitarian minister, the Reverend Charles Follen, who had emigrated to the U.S. from Germany, was serving our congregation in Lexington, Massachusetts, which is still known as the Follen Church today. Follen is Follen. Reverend Charles realized that he missed the color and the excitement with which Christmas was celebrated in his home country of Germany, so he decided to do something about it. So he strode into the forest on the day before Christmas and carefully dug up a pine tree and brought it home, where he placed it in a tub surrounding the base with moss and dirt. He kept it hidden away from his family, and then he decorated the tree with candies, mints, decorated eggshells, dolls, and small candle holders. The next morning, he revealed the tree to his wife and children, and later that day to guests of a party that he was hosting. And all were delighted by this novel idea of a tree decorated inside the house for Christmas. And lo and behold, the Christmas tree was born. I think we all know how that turned out. Here's another Christmas chestnut that may surprise you. The winter carol, Jingle Bells, is one of the most beloved songs of this season. I think all of you could probably sing it on demand if you had to. And it was written by a Unitarian. I know. James Pierpont was born into a Unitarian family in Medford, Massachusetts, in the middle of the 19th century. James was a restless lad and decided to leave home to seek his fortune at the age of 14, and his travels took him all the way south to Savannah, Georgia, where his brother was serving as a Unitarian minister in a church. And James, due to family connections, got a job as the organist of that church. And one night in the middle of winter, as he was practicing the organ, he grew rather homesick, as I can only imagine a New England boy in Georgia would, for the snow-covered fields and the sounds of sleigh bells that he knew from his home. And that homesickness turned into the song Jingle Bells, which he wrote specifically about the New England Christmases of his youth. There you go. There is still a plaque somewhere in Medford claiming Pierpont as one of their own. You know how we love our plaques up here. And also marking that site as the composition site of Jingle Bells. But since history seems to suggest he actually wrote the song while in Georgia, there's also a plaque in Georgia, because of course there is. If any of you on your travels to Medford or Georgia ever find the plaque, please take a picture. Another musical fun fact. You know the song, "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear"? Okay. That was also written by a Unitarian. In 1849, Reverend Edmund Sears of the Unitarian Church of Wayland, Massachusetts, much like Longfellow, he wrote that as a response to his own grief about his country being at war, specifically the U.S.'s war with Mexico and ongoing revolutions against oppressive regimes in Europe. The third verse of that song is especially pointed, and it reads this way: "But with the woes of sin and strife, the world has suffered long. Beneath the angel strain have rolled 2,000 years of wrong. And man at war with man hears not the love song which they bring. Oh, hush the noise, ye men of strife, and hear the angels sing." It's not beautiful and sad. Once you know the context, it's really sad. Finally, for my last little historical nugget, we are moving across the pond to jolly old England for perhaps the funnest of fun facts that I have to share with all of you today. Charles Dickens was a Unitarian. Exactly. One of the most beloved pieces of Christmas literature is A Christmas Carol. We all know it, the story of Ebenezer Scrooge being visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. A Christmas Carol was written in 1843 by Charles Dickens, as you may know also as the author of Oliver Twist, Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, the list goes on. He wasn't born a Unitarian. Like many of you, he was a convert later in life. He was baptized and reared in the Church of England, as most English people were, and remained a nominal Anglican for most of his life. But it is recorded that he first encountered Unitarians when he came on a trip to Boston in 1842, where he met the very influential Unitarian, Dr. William Ellery Channing, which we know is pretty much the father of American Unitarianism. He was also introduced to a number of Unitarian professors at Harvard, including our friend, the poet, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Now, he met him here, went home to London. After going home, Dickens began attending Unitarian services at the Essex Street Chapel in London. And just 9 months after his meeting with Channing, Channing died. And his considerable reputation at the time meant that there was a memorial service held for him in London. So Charles Dickens, eager to pay his respects, went to that memorial service and was so impressed by the Unitarian minister's sermon in that service that he decided then and there to join the church. If only it were that easy. I'm going to find that sermon. I'm going to dig it up. It is said that Dickens became a Unitarian because he felt it was the only religious movement which made the quality of life a central concern, and he was critical of any religion that did not seek to relieve poverty. I think reading some of his works, you might see that relieving poverty was a big concern for him. The early Unitarian church's message of inherent human worth and dignity resonated strongly with Dickens' belief of the need for a just and equitable society for all. Soon after, because remember, this happened in 1942 that he met Channing, started going to Unitarian services, and then Channing died. In 1842 that happened. In 1843, he wrote A Christmas Carol. I think it's safe to say we had some influence on that story, yes. Christmas Carol highlights the effects of poverty in an uncaring society, exemplified by the character, as we know, of Ebenezer Scrooge. And then, and even now, I would argue, A Christmas Carol may be seen as a statement of Dickens' newfound Unitarian faith and his belief in the values of love and compassion. That love and that compassion, of course, remain as foundations of our Unitarian Universalist faith tradition today and in the past and today. And as these examples show, our history is deeply embedded, not only with the history of this nation, but the history of this cultural holiday. Who knew that you could thank us for Christmas trees, right? It's amazing. And I thought it was worthwhile to bring that into the service today because, to be honest with all of you, I sometimes struggle a bit being a UU around Christmas time, especially a UU minister. Because this time of year, when everything around us seems centered on this one specific religious holiday, it can be difficult to hold space for the plurality of the world's religious wisdom in the face of Christmas, 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 right? And it can be similarly difficult to be a UU when we're with our family members that may not share or even understand our faith tradition, or to be with family and friends who just may question why we can't be all about baby Jesus at this time of year. And straddling the divides between our family histories, the cultural traditions, our own pluralistic values, it can feel like a bit of a juggling match or something. It can be hard. But interwoven with the Christian message of this holiday is the universal message of love and compassion for all living things. That is the message of Christmas for me. It is the message that our Unitarian Universalist values of generosity, justice, and equity unabashedly support. This is the message of who we are called to be, and called to be every day, not just in December, right? So as this holiday season rages on, as it tends to do, I hope this grounding in our Unitarian history can anchor your beliefs about what this holiday can mean for you. Because while we're all on our own independent searches for truth and meaning, we are also part of an interdependent web. Our place in this beloved community depends on our ability to straddle these divides and do the work, as our friend Longfellow said, of peace on earth and goodwill to all. May it be so. Amen.
As we bring our service to a close, there are a few announcements to share. All are welcome to join us for coffee hour in the Beale House across the street. If you're visiting, please be sure to check out our Info Island welcome table to find info and sign up for our newsletter. Today is the last day of our mitten tree collection. Everything will be delivered to the Matthew Mission Food Pantry this week. Thanks to all of you for supporting the collection. We are sponsoring 3 families for Christmas from the Plymouth Coalition for the Homeless. There's a total of 8 children. There's an online sign-up link in the weekly newsletter with all the details for clothing, shoes, and toys. Everything has to be ready to go by next Sunday, December 15th, and there are collection boxes in the Beale House. This coming Wednesday, December 11th at 5:30 in the church is our monthly contemplative service. This month's theme is holding grief and gratitude. It is a service dedicated to making space for the grief and sorrow so many feel at this time of year. All are welcome to attend. Finally, next Sunday, December 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. is our annual holiday party in the parsonage. Bring your favorite finger food. We'll have a Letters to Santa writing station for kids of all ages, plus carol singing and lots of fun. All are welcome. Now, please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Jingle Bells. The lyrics are in an insert in your order of service.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha, 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 bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or 2 ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bride was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lame, misfortune seemed his lot. We got into a drooping rank, and then we got upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Now the ground is wide, going while you're young. Take a rest tonight and sing the same song. Just get a bobtail bay, 240 at his feet. Hitch him to an open sleigh, and girl, you'll take the lead. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh. Yay, friends, as we extinguish, clapping yay for Jingle Bells, yay. As we extinguish our chalice and return to the wider world, may your heart be full of love this season. That is my prayer for each of you. And may your soul know its true worth today and every day. Go in peace, and Merry Christmas. How you doing? Are you okay? Are you all right? Oh my God. Oh my God. I have to tell you. I'll tell you. Okay, please do. I didn't catch everything he said, so I want to hear it. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. I thought we'd have a little fun today. Thank you. Thank you. Good. That was the goal. Yeah. You got to make room for the spirit sometimes, don't you?